طيب والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك، أنت المقدم وأنت المؤخر وأنت على كل شيء قدير. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما واجعل تفرقنا بعده تفرقا معصوما ولا تدع فينا شقيا ولا محروما. In the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most compassionate, the most merciful, all praise and thanks are due to Him, and peace and blessings be upon His beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He who is guided by the will of Allah, no one can misguide him, and he who is misguided, no one can guide him except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I do bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is His messenger. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today is our 31st session, alhamdulillah, Surah Al-Baqarah. We are supposed, inshallah, to start with ayah, verse 83, inshallah. However, always, maybe you have noticed that I always do my best to just connect in case we have new guests, just to know what we are doing, okay? We are doing a very simple tafsir for the Quran. The Quran for Muslims is the constitution of life for who? Humanity. Please fix it in your mind. This book is not yours. It's what? It's ours. Okay? It's theirs. It's ours. For this, now, we need to know that. We are not just trying to understand and to amuse and to entertain our minds by having a good information about our book. It's the book of a human being. Please fix it in your mind. Because you must keep feeling the duty of spreading this mu'jiza to every single person on earth. It's your duty, especially if you are born a Muslim. Okay? This constitution, as you understand now, is the cream, the final results, the seal, the end, call it whatever you want. The final revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to humanity through a prophet. His name is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was preceded by 124,000 prophets plus 315 messengers from Adam to Muhammad. We know 25 of them in the Quran, 3 in the Sunnah, total 28. Rest we have nothing about them. How did we know that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَرُسُلًا لَمْ نَقْصُصْهُمْ عَلَيْكَ. Clearly. Then Prophet Muhammad mentioned the exact number of them. Now, what happens? Allah decided to send same religion. Please, I will keep repeating the most important thing. We believe in one religion. We don't believe in religions. إِنَّ الدِّينَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ الْإِسْلَامِ. Verily, indeed, the only religion according to Allah, which means accepted by Allah, is Islam. Islam can be used in both ways. Can be used as a proper name, as a title, as a concept. The concept of Islam goes to the root of peace and submission, silm taslim. So for us, in our faith, anyone, Adam, Abraham, Jacob, Joseph, Noah, Jesus, Moses, Elijah, whatever, anyone in his time submitted himself and his followers to God's will, to Allah's will in his time is called what? A Muslim. So by this understanding, all preceded believers are Muslims. So we need to know that, by the way. You are part of a long chain of believers. You need to know that. You are the final, okay, of a long chain of prophets and believers. By the way, the disciples, you know who are the disciples? Mean disciples? Hawariyim. The disciples of Prophet Jesus. For us, exactly like the Sahaba. Exactly. You need to be connected with that. By the way, when you know that you are part of billions of people, it's not like thinking just you are just a simple person who are mutashaddid or raj'i, backward person, people and against him because of the media. Be careful. You are part of a huge, your family is from Adam up to any believer who said, I want to submit myself to my Lord, is your brother. You need to know that. However, this thing has been ended by the decision of Allah that this book, the Constitution of Humanity, was revealed. Okay? This was explained in the span of 23 years by Prophet Muhammad. He applied this practically, okay, by his sayings, his actions, reactions, attitude, explanations. We call it the Sunnah or the Hadith, okay? The Sunnah literally means the way. Terminologically means the way of the Prophet. Practically means the way how the Prophet applied this practically. Okay? So now what we are doing now, on the base of looking to this book in this way, we are doing a simple tafsir. We started this book by explaining the meaning of a Fatiha. We knew how important it is. Then we proceeded through Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter which is the longest chapter in the Quran. Okay? And in our classification, it's called from Al-Quran Al-Madani. We have Quran Makki and Quran Madani. This has to do with the timing of the revelation. Anything was revealed to Prophet Muhammad before, by the way, Mecca and Medina has nothing to do with the place of Mecca. It has to do with the time of before immigration, after immigration. Okay? يعني قبل الهجرة, بعد الهجرة. What he received in the span of 13 years, while he was arguing, with the people of Mecca, he traveled to At-Ta'if, he went outside Mecca, different, he was uplifted to the Mi'raj, Isra wal Mi'raj. All of this is called Quran Makki. It's the same Quran, but it's just for a scientific classification, okay? So sometimes we know this because Quran al-Madani, it's after everything settled down and states with the power of protection and the shield of iqamat, establishing the hukum of Allah has been started. They started receiving now what we call the ahkam, the teachings, the rulings. Before that, it was the argument of the faith. This is true, this is right, this is wrong. Just a small number of people. هذول هم elites, Sahaba. By the way, you might be shocked to know this. You might be shocked. According to the best of my knowledge, 13 years of, making da'wah in Mecca. To the best of my knowledge, the number of those who converted to Islam less than 400. From Mecca. Are you with me? While after migrating to Medina, where there is settlement, a power, institution, constitution, academic, power, protection, da'wah with the protection, in 9 years, those who attended the Hajj, the pilgrimage with the Prophet, according to the Seerah, they were around 120,000. Attended the Hajj. I'm not saying Muslims, just because if we put the mathematical possibility that each one attended the Hajj, there's at least one person behind him was left at home. He's a Muslim, but he was not or she was not able to attend the Hajj. Maybe Muslims, they were around 1/5 to 250,000. Which means now the elite always are little. Those who establish, you need to know that. What do I benefit from this? You benefit. You are a minority. You are less than 3% or 2 or 1%. But you are the elite. You are supposed to hold the haqq and let others know it. By the way, what I'm saying basically should pay your attention to a fact, which is this book is or could be or should be, the property should be owned by any Canadian around you now. Any non-Muslim, atheists, agnostic, Christian, Jew, if he discovered that this is the truth, basically, and he adapted, he might compete with you and become the people of the Jannah before all of us. So we need to know this, okay? Now, in light of all of this, we reach to something. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at the beginning of Surah Al-Baqarah, He made it very clear, classified the people into two main categories, clearly. The Creator, not me. Who? The Creator, Allah. قال ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب ولا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. He was talking about the muttaqin from the believers, and in the opposite immediately he mentioned al-kafirin. Allah said مؤمنين وكافرين, the one who believed and the one who rejected. عم أعمل إيه? He rejected. أعمل إيه أنا أعمل إيه? And what can I do? يعني we go back, please. These concepts are very important to be clear. The concept of iman and kufr, some people say, some people, they are under the notion of the brainwashing of the media. If you want to be an activist of human rights and to be nice and cool, you know, nice and cool? Nice and cool for some people, doing nothing, saying nothing, being with nothing, being against nothing. Are you with me? Because if you accepted everything, you will stand for nothing. How come? At the end, you have something here, right and wrong. I know, some people, their reference point differ. The atheist, by the way, the atheist, he has right and wrong from his point of view. The Christian as well, the Jew as well, the Muslim as well. So don't accept the idea of cool, everyone is, no. We have right and wrong. We have accepted and unaccepted. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. And the biggest example for us, Iblis. And we need to know this. When we say kafar, does not mean they don't believe in the existence of Allah. Be careful. كافرين شوفي, but you know they believe in the existence of Allah. حبيبي, be careful. The concept of kufr, which is the rejection, we can understand it from the first person who did it, which is Iblis. Was Iblis a rejecter for the existence of Allah? He was actually speaking with Allah. Be careful. Was Iblis unaware of that Allah is the creator? No. But was Iblis ignorant about the power of Allah? طيب, was Iblis ignorant about that Allah is the one who has the full right in everything? No. Yet Iblis is a kafir. كافر بإيش? How he reached this status? He rejected the commandments. He decided not to obey. He became a disobedient. By this, he's a kafir. Make this very clear in your mind. The concept of rejection and the deservance for the status of a kafir is not just not to believe in the unseen. No, sometimes you know, you are aware, you have the knowledge, but you reject to submit. That's why Allah decided to call the final version of His revelation Islam, not Iman. Be careful. Be careful. Islam. Because the idea of you submit or not. Are you ready to say, Hadr ya Allah? Okay? Riba is haram, hadr. And let me just remind you with another one. I'm sorry that I made some details which is not related today, but I noticed that we have a lot of new faces. So I need just to bring them on the track of what we are doing. Abu Jahl, Umayyah ibn Khalaf, Abu Lahab. Do you recognize these names? Who's Abu Jahl? What did Prophet Muhammad call him? Fir'aun هذه الأمة. The pharaoh of this nation. Which it's like a title of, okay, dictatorship and injustice of all kind of negative meanings that in notation and connotations that could come to your mind. Fir'aun. Abu Lahab. Who's Abu Lahab? The uncle of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was mentioned in the Quran, special surah, تبت يدا أبي لهب. Do you know that we become closer to Allah when we curse the uncle of Prophet? Look how just this religion is. The uncle of Prophet. So is it a tribal religion? Is it a tribal? If it's tribal, this is the direct blood uncle of Prophet Muhammad, the brother of his father. We become closer to Allah when we curse him. We take 10 hasanat for each letter. When we say tabbat, 30 hasana. Yada, another 20 hasana. Abi, 20 hasana, 30 hasana. Lahab wa tab ma aghna anhuma. We are cursing him. We are asking the la'na for him. طيب. Abu Lahab, Abu Jahl as a symbol. Do you think when Quran came, they were not aware that Allah does exist? Do you think? No, they were exactly like Iblis. Because this is not my words, by the way. It's not my conclusion. Allah said in the Quran, وَلَئِن سَأَلْتَهُمْ مَنْ خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ لَيَقُولُونَ. If you ask them, O Prophet Muhammad, who created heavens and earth, they would say, Allah. In another verse, وَلَئِن سَأَلْتَهُمْ مَنْ خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَسَخَّرَ الشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرِ. If you ask them who created the heavens and the earth and still controlling, managing everything, which means, because some Greek philosophers, they were with the belief, and some people now in the modern society, they say, okay, they are called, some people, they believe that, okay, we believe in God, but this God created, then he left the universe to operate itself by its own. It's like some of the philosophers, which means, Ya Ammi, don't waste your time with me, and I believe in your God, khalas, but God has nothing to do with the universe so far. And this God who does exist, and I believe in his existence, did not send any prophets. The end result, as if God does not exist, because he is not accepting God's interference in his life. This is one of the philosophers. So Allah is replying against those people from the very beginning. وَلَئِن سَأَلْتَهُمْ مَنْ خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ لَيَقُولُنَّ اللَّهُ. 2. وَلَئِن سَأَلْتَهُمْ مَنْ خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ plus سَخَّرَ الشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرِ. He did not create it and lift it. They say, the example that they used to say it in the books, it's like, do you know the old style fashion of clock? The old one that you fill it manually. You remember them? Like toys, sometimes old fashioned toys, before the electronic toys. We used to fill them manually, like then the toys, then it stops. شو الزنبرك بالإنجليزي? Spring? Are using the mechanic for the spring. You just fill it, then it goes by its own. They say this is how universe. God created like the old Swiss clock, and the universe is running itself by itself. Mother Nature. Smurfs. تعرفوا السمرفs? تعرفوهم السنافر؟ أمنا الطبيعة. Have you watched them in Arabic and English? Smurfs. In the Arab word, very بابا صدفور وبابا شنكول وبابا منكول ومش عارف القصص هاي كلها. اوكي يا أمنا الطبيعة أمطري علينا, please give us thank you أمنا الطبيعة. داروينيزم وفرويديزم وكذا كله خلطة ببعضه كوكتيل ودق يا مزيكا. I guess Quran is replying for those people. That's my point. Now, do you think they were not refusing this? They knew it. They admitted, yet they were kuffar. Why? They refused to submit to the commandment of Allah. Allah said, for example, okay, إنما الخمر والميسر والأنصاب والأزلام. They are talking about gambling, industry, business, money. Khamr, not billions, trillions use of power. When you use alcohol, alcohol is a multi-trillion industry, not billion. Multi-trillion industry. Okay? قال فاجتنبوا. Now the word اجتنب is 10 times powerful and stronger than the word haram in Arabic language, by the way. فاجتنبوا. It contains 10 harams. Haram of buying the khamr, haram of selling the khamr, haram of planting the grapes or the apple and sell it to the factory which manufactures the khamar. Haram to use your truck in transporting the khamar. Haram to sit with someone who's drinking al-khamar. So ijtanibu contains all of this. When Allah said that, or in another verse, ولا تكرهوا فتياتكم على البغاء إن أردنا تحصنا. You know what is this in our language now? Industry of prostitution. They used to bring slave girls, hundreds and thousands. Prostitution houses. What? Money, power. Allah said, stop this, stop this. He says, no. Okay, you are nice, Muhammad, as a Sadiq al-Amin. We welcome you as a nice person. As long as you are nice by yourself, i.e. Salih, we love you. You are Sadiq Amin. We will come to your house. We will welcome you. We will put our trusts, amanat in your house, no problem. But once you became a Muslim, you started saying, غلط, صح, change, no. According to our Lebanese, what would they say? Habib Albe. You know Habib Albe? الحبيب قلبي لا ما اتفقنا هيك لا طبعا ابو جهل ما حكى بيعرفش لبناني طبعا اوكي بس جست انا هذا شو بقول له ادراجات المخرج هاي فالبوينت قال له وقف prostitution industry, slave industry, alcohol industry, billions, personal interest, money, power, سيطرة. Allah said stop. قال له no way بها كفر. So let's fix the concepts. فبليز you need to know إنه فكرة وما كان تساعدني يا أبو عمر وما كان لمؤمن ولا مؤمنة إذا قضى الله ورسوله أمرا أن يكون لهما الخيرة من أمرهم. فأنا لسه مش مقتنعة بالحجاب. مش ايش عفوا عيدي بليز مش مقتنعة. ايش يعني مش مقتنعة؟ فهميني انا بدي افهم انا نفوخي ايش يعني مش مقتنعة؟ مش مقتنع ايش؟ طب وانا مش مقتنع بالصلاة، مش مقتنع بالزكاة، مش مقتنع بالحجاب، مش مقتنع بالزنا، مش طب بالاخير there is no Islam. What's the point? What's the difference between us and them if that's the point? Okay? SubhanAllah, I was not planning to say all of this introduction. It was just meant to be just an introduction. طيب, let's go to طبعا احنا what we were doing through مؤمنين and كافرين, then the beginning of the creation of Adam, story of Adam. So you can watch them inshallah on n.banat or Dar Foundation YouTube channels, the full series. We go through, then we came to a specific group, which is the children of Israel. We told them why Allah decided to put a big number of their stories, at least in 14, 15 pages, 90 verses, 25 incidents and stories for the children of Israel in Surah Al-Baqarah alone. Why? We told you generally, some of the things that we could reach to, we and them belong to the same school, the school of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that's the tawheed, like other things. Allah decided to give. What they passed by, their age is now 3,400 years. Our age is 1,400. So they preceded us with 2,000 years of ups, downs. Allah decided to go, look, it's like me as a father, when I speak with your younger brother, for example, imagine that, for example, this is my son and this is my son. Between them, let's say, for example, 20 years. Say, Tam, shuf, I asked your brother 20 years ago not to go to this college. He insisted. Now he's not finding a job. Don't repeat his mistake. Are you with me? Now, 20 years ago, we did not have this kind of easiness to reach, to know, to Google, to search, to something. Oh, please, you can do this. Don't waste your time with that. Now I'm giving you what? Wallahi al-mathal al-a'la, lessons from those who preceded you. Now we came to one of these 25. Verse 83. It contains an amazing message that will empower you with many things, inshallah. I will recite the ayah I will say the exact literal translation. Then I will see what kind of messages we can take inshallah from this ayah بإذن الله. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. وإذ أخذنا ميثاق بني إسرائيل لا تعبدون إلا الله وبالوالدين إحسانا وذي القربى واليتامى والمساكين وقولوا للناس حسنا وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة ثم توليتم إلا قليلا منكم وأنتم معرضون. الله سبحانه وتعالى بسم الله الله يجزيكم خير. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and remember, when we took the covenant from the children of Israel. Look, what Allah took as a covenant, ahd, mithaq, between him and the children of Israel 3,000 years ago, 3,400 years ago. قال, stating, worship none but Allah. And by the way, these meanings is very, very powerful still, some of them, even though we don't believe the nowadays Old Testament or the Torah are the genuine one, but still it contains a lot of these meanings, which means, for example, O Israel. Now, in the language of translated Torah now, in English, for example, the word O Israel means O the people of Israel. Okay? O Israel basically is the name of Jacob. Yaqub alayhi salam, Israel. Israel or Israel means the worshipper of Allah, Abdullah. يعني بالعربي عبد الله. إسرائيل معناها عبد الله بلغتنا يعني باختصار بسيط جدا. So, all the people of Israel, don't worship any deity, any God with me, which is mentioned in 10 of places, which is really, really still very clear up to now, which is a big problem for Christians. Still, because it's the same book, especially when you see tens of indications in the Old Testament about monotheism. So when you come to Christianity, Trinity. So the same book, monotheism, oneness of God, and Trinity. So in the Quran, Allah is stating that this was part of the covenants that أخذنا ميثاق بني إسرائيل, stating worship none but Allah. Be kind to parents, relatives, orphans, and needy. Speak kindly to the people. Establish prayer. Pay the alms tax. But you turned away except a few, and you were refusing. You were rejecting. For us, it's a very simple ayah because it contains what we do in our daily basis. But now we are on a ilm session. We need to put this information in the right place so that we can be empowered with knowing this. Allah is telling us that part of the covenant between him and part of Muslims in their time, 4,000 years ago, was exactly what we are doing now. Salah, zakah, birr walidain, exactly the same. What can I benefit from this? Now, the first benefit, at least in my in my understanding, some people, for many reasons, and please focus on this, Muslims in the West in specific. Now, Muslims generally in the West, they are living under a big umbrella of secular world. True or false? I think Muslims on the planet Earth, but in the West is much more powerful. I mean, the aspect of secularism, which means detaching religion from life, is much more higher. And we can witness, like for example, like your son, when your son goes to a public school where no Muslim except himself and he wants to pray, for example, is it easy? Is it something easy? Psychologically, the peer pressure, someone might be laughing at him, mocking him, making jokes of him. هذا إذا اعتبرنا just the natural reaction of childhood. But what if he is in the mid school or in the secondary school or high school and they are brainwashed by the media, terrorists to Taliban or Afghanistan or Qaeda or ISIS or مش عارف كذا. Or if the sister decided to wear the niqab and goes to public school. ايش يا نينجا؟ He started making fun of her. Is this easy? No, it's not easy, because from one angle, many people, they don't know. Many people, they don't understand. The secular life generally is against religions in general. And the most people who are doing to manifest their past, for example, the religion is Muslims. Now, when someone come reading the Quran, when you know that what you are doing now in terms of chastity and purity with the hijab, or doing the prayer, or paying the zakah, or doing the taraweeh, you are part of millions and millions and millions and billions. You are not a backward person. You are not just wasting your time with empty, actions. No. It's something that Allah is honoring, and it was the commandment of the Jews and the Christians and the disciples and the followers of Ibrahim alayhi salam, the followers of Sulaiman alayhi salam, the followers of Dawood alayhi salam. You are part of them. What you are doing, they used to do. So you need to be proud of what you are doing. Don't think because, the attack, the umbrella of a non-religious world against you as a religious person, at the end you are not supposed to be the biggest hero and to stand against it. You might be just 10 or 15 or 20 years alone, which is not something easy. That's what the important also. لا تعبدون وإذ أخذنا ميثاق بني لا تعبدون إلا الله وبالوالدين إحسانا ذي القربى واليتامى والمساكين. Something. Now, this is one of the messages. Another message. It's a little bit tough message, philosophical, but it's good to have an idea about it. When we talk about values, now part of the negative aspects, at least in my understanding, of the tough secularism, they try to brainwash the people to tell them that ethics and values are relative. What does it mean? Who thinks that he did understand what I'm talking about? Just to know how difficult it is to make it much more simple.
They can be changed, relative?
Yes, relative, nisbi, which means, for example, what you think is wrong might be thought later as right and vice versa, which means when you think that drinking alcohol is wrong, okay, I think it's right. Who's right? ما فيش حد أحسن من حد. This is called relativism. According to you, it's wrong. According to me, it's right. طيب. Zina. According to you, I think it's haram. According to him, it's not wrong. So who's right and wrong? Now, generally speaking, liberalism is calling for this. Secularism is calling for this. So that's why sometimes you say, hey, don't be an old-fashioned. You look how backward you are. Old-fashioned. This is applicable on technology, yes. Don't be old-fashioned. In technology, yes. In science, applied science, yes. But not on values. Not on religious teaching such as the big values of haram and halal. That's why from one angle, be careful to educate, to raise your children in the concept of haram and halal, not concept of just right, wrong and aib. Because the concept of aib, shame on you. Okay, shame on you, this is a cultural attitude. Yani, for example, when we used to be kids, we used to be shocked from the American movies when we see a man speaking with another and he's putting his both legs with his shoes in the face of the person. For us, it's like killing someone. Our Arabic culture, we don't stand when an elder is speaking with us. We stood up just because he's standing. We can't sit. We speak politely. We sit. Imagine me sitting like this, putting my hey, something. It's for us. It's a crime. When you come and discuss it, you see this is a cultural issue. You think it's wrong. They think it's right. So please close the file. Could this be changed? Yes. Later on, they decided to consider it not appropriate. Ya ammi, yalla, let's change it. Here comes a disaster. For us, be careful. Faith, values has nothing to do with the concept of Darwinism. We don't have evolution in ethics and values. Be careful. What Allah decided from the very beginning that it has a high positive value, such as بالوالدين إحسانا. Allah created Adam, Hawa, and to us, embodied inside us, that respecting parents is a high, valuable, positive value. And it's a must, it's a compulsory, it's a wajib, and breaking it is haram. There should be no room, even after 10,000 years. One said, yes, from your point, from my point of view. It's the decision of Allah. Disrespecting parents is a sin, it's a haram, it's wrong. Are you with me? So look, when we say, it's a value. Now, for example, now, والمساكين وقولوا للناس حسنا. Be kind with the people. Do you know relativism is pushing some people to reach to what? Now some people, because of relativism, they started discussing the concept of pedophilia. In some European countries, pedophilia. Who said that this is wrong? Who said why, when, how? Started discussing. Now, most of the people on earth, they consider this is a crime. They will keep pushing, using this. They might reach to, because it is, relatively speaking, this is what you think. Not what I think. So let's discuss. Ya Ammil, big values, it has been decided by Allah, not by us. That's why we need the uncorrupted divine system, because if it's up to us, we will change it. Because the motivation that drives us, basically our interests, masalihna. We don't care with the human beings. Do you need better example than what happens now between Russia and Ukraine? Tens of years of human rights, talking about human rights, okay? True or false? Democracy, secularism, religion are the problem. In 4 days, have you noticed the amount of racism, lying, hatred against everything? Do you have, according to them, I'm not able to see, do you have blue eyes here? According to the BBC, CBC, NBC, CNN, most of us, we are not supposed to go to the trains to flee from Ukraine if we were there. We are supposed to be thrown in the rubbish. Yes, I'm good. Have you witnessed the BBC? We are talking about elites now, reporters. They are choosing, out of thousands, not just a layman in the street, a reporter of BBC. They are not normal people. They have blue eyes, blonde hair. I mean, they are not like Syrians. مش زيكم انتوا يعني. مش Syrians ولا Iraqi people ولا Afghani. Because who decides what's right and wrong? If you have the power, who decides what's right and wrong according to the human beings? The one who has the power. True or false? Who can ask United States now to do or not to do something? That's why one of the funny things, I will stop just this point. Most of you can't witness the time of George Bush, I think the father, when they started fighting what they called Al-Qaeda at that time, okay? September 11th, the problem. So they started, they launched the war against terrorism. Nice. It was but a new terminology for us, for most of us. Yes, let's fight terrorism. Yalla, let's fight. Yalla. Okay. Wallahi, I'm against terrorism. Yalla, let's fight. But can you define terrorism for me, Mr. George Bush? Because if you, as they say in English, no definition, no prohibition. If I told you, please, bring me the XXN. Okay, I'll bring it, but what is it? Don't worry, but bring it. Give me the definition. شو XXN? يا عمي, regardless, just bring it and come. Don't waste my time. يا عمي, قسما بالله, I will bring it. أنا نافوخي, والله. But what it is? Tell me, what is the XXN? Regardless, just bring it. What is this? I'm making fun of you. I'm fooling you. When I say, we must fight terrorism. Type, give me the definition of terrorism and I will fight it. No definition. Why? Because if they define the terrorism, it might be applied on some of their troops somewhere on earth. Okay. Terrorism, for example, if someone invaded another country without their permission, okay, Russians, French, British, okay, no, change it, a new definition. Yalla, I'm ready with you, a new definition. French, Africa, blah, 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 blah. This is applied on the French troops in Africa. Okay, change it. This is applied on British troops in Falkland Islands in Argentina. This is applied on American troops in Vietnam. This is so they come up with the political decision. You know what is it? He who's with us is a freedom fighter. He who's against us is a terrorist. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. Well, this is the difference between these things and Muslims, the true Muslims. In Islam, we have clear definitions. Clear definitions. We don't play these kind of dirty games. فَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. We are not ready. This is iman, this is kufr. This is haram, this is halal. No way to consider prostitution or zina as a haram. No way. Any sexual relation outside the institution of marriage is haram. Period. That's why many people, they are fighting Muslims and Islam. Because it what? It destroys their business. Money talks. You know money? Just when you stood firm on what you believe in itself, might cause them to lose their business. Now this is from the messages that we take it from لا تعبدون إلا الله وبالوالدين إحسانا وبذي القربى واليتامى والمساكين. Big values, أحكام شرعية ليست إسلامية وإنما إلهية مطلقة. From Adam up to the day of judgment. It's an ultimate value teachings. You need to know that. You might think that I'm making a little bit philosophical. Wallahi, you will be shocked when you see your kids coming from the school arguing with you with these concepts. You will see how dangerous what I'm talking about is. Because why it's haram? Who said so? I don't think so. 10 years. No, to me, okay, Daddy, I respect that you came from an Arab country. I'll not say it's backward. Okay, Dad, okay, I'll respect you. But this is what you think. I think something else. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. So be careful. طب another message. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. A question came to me while I was preparing this. Now, we are living in the 21st century. And we are still talking about ibadah, worship, zakah, salah. Ya ammi. Skip. خلصنا. We are the people of technology now. We are the people of civilized people. Don't waste our time with these things. Look, make it very simple. In this life, it's either you believe and accept and submit, or you do something else, face the consequences in the day of judgment. All of what you are describing as civilization has to do with the materialistic aspect of life. We are talking about the spiritual faith value aspect of life. This is not covered by technology, okay? This is not mentioned in the labs. This is not research in the scientific applied science or whatever. So don't let them, unfortunately, brainwash you with this. Now, even after 10,000 years, if we live another 10,000 years, still we need these things. And we are not like that American writer. I remember reading, I just saw the cover, and I believe maybe I read just 1 or 2 pages from it, but the title of the cover about 20 years ago, it shocked me. An American writer composed a book with the title, The Death of God. What was the core idea of the book? An American writer. Do you know what was it? The idea of the book was, look, we Americans, we reached to a level we are able to do a surgical operation through 15,000 miles by the remote. You know that. They can do operations now easily. They are the first who did it. They can make, heart surgery from a place like now, for example, the telescope or something or whatever, they are moving. They say, we landed on moon. We are about to approach Mars. So there is no need for God anymore. So we need to declare the death of God. Look to the arrogance. Arrogance. This reminds us with what? In the Quran. At least in my mind. لازم تحذروا اللي براسي أنا. مشان شكل زعماء العرب. مش حكي سياسي بس. قارون. The power. الأيديا مش بس السلطة. He was depending on what? قارون. قال إنما أوتيته على علم عندي. قارون قال إن قارون كان من قوم موسى فبغى عليهم وآتيناه من الكنوز ما إن مفاتحه لتنوء بالعصبة أولي القوة. Can you imagine? Qarun was from the people of Moses, from the children of Israel, living under the dictatorship regime of Pharaoh in Egypt. His people was tortured 24/7 by the Pharaoh. He was a multi-billionaire, benefiting from the system. He was a tyrant, kha'in, okay? Against his people. Allah gave him, in our words, multi-billionaire. قال إذ قال له قومه لا تفرح. Don't be arrogant. The word فرح, يفرح in the Quranic terminology means arrogance, okay? Not happiness. Be careful. إذ قال له قومه لا تفرح. لا تتكبر. Don't be arrogant. قال وابتغ فيما آتاك الله الدار الآخرة. And seek with what Allah has given you the hereafter. ولا تنسى نصيبك من الدنيا. But just keep some little for the dunya. This is my point now. The arrogance of the materialistic power. قال إنما أوتيته على علم عندي. يعني باللهجة المصرية شقاي وتعب وفلوسي فأطلع منها بقى حبيبي. هو ما حكاش هيك بس أنا عم بحكي على لسان برضه تدخل مخرج هاي إنما أوتيته على علم عندي. I did it my own power. I'm a clever person. I did it. I managed. I manufactured. I discovered. حبيبي I mean أنت. You are just discovering what Allah created. Allah created these kinds in the... Now, if Allah did not put, imagine, the gluten with its specification inside the wheat, we can't have bread. Are you with me? The gluten inside the bread, it helps you to bring the dough to make it like this, okay? If the gluten does not exist by the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it will be completely just simple pieces. You can't bake it. We discover this. Allah is the one who decided that my hand, when it touches the wood, it does not stuck. While Allah created some other things, when they touch, they stuck. Or otherwise we can't live. We know these things. We discover them just. Anyway, when it's the death of God. So for us, no. Whenever Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, when he was given the victory upon the people of the Mecca, after a lot of injustice and dictatorship and torturing, when he came, look, he's a victorious person now. Compare him with the criminal Napoleon. Napoleon, the empire, Emperor Napoleon. He invaded many countries. He killed many people, and according to one of the books that I read, Napoleon, when he invaded and controlled and occupied Poland about more than 200 years, he saw a very beautiful girl and he wanted to sleep with her. Haram طبعا, he wanted to rape her actually. She refused. So he declared that if the father of this girl enabled me to sleep with her, I will give الاستقلال شو بالإنجليزي؟ Independence. جزاك الله خير. I will give the independence to Poland. Look to the arrogance and the power. If I did this, I will give you. This is Napoleon, the great Napoleon. Now look at Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a leader, as a fighter, as a prophet. 13 years plus 8 years of attacking, torturing, stealing, killing, doing all kind of filthy, dirty, bad things. In the war strategies, mentality, he has the full right to kill them and to take revenge. No one will blame him. Now, to the importance of faith and religion now. When he came as a victorious and he conquered Mecca incomplete, by the way, Mecca for the Arabic Peninsula in that time, like Washington, D.C. now. Yes, we need to know the value. Mecca at that time, like Washington, D.C. now. So when the Prophet came, it's one of the biggest, victories. When he came, he was doing his head like this in the top of the camel, just making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just to accept from him, feeling humble, about to cry for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for enabling him to get into Mecca. And he said, اذهبوا فأنتم الطلقاء. His point was, Ya Allah, are you satisfied from me? I hope that I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not here for revenge. I'm not here to kill. Why I'm telling you all of these things? What prevented Muhammad from taking his human rights and taking revenge? It's the religion. It's the faith. It's Allah. If it's up to him, who would blame him not killing them all? Answer me mathematically now. If it's up to him, who would blame him? No one. Because anyone who was oppressed, then he had the power, he has the full right to revenge. This is a human, the countries, states, all the people. Why he did not do it? Because we have something above us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is commanding him, this is right, this is wrong. You have to do, you don't have, it's not up to you. It's not up to you, O Muhammad. By the way, in this sense, Muhammad is a slave. Subhanalladhi asra bi'abdihi. We need to know this. For us, we are not like other religions. No one is uplifted to be close from Allah. This is completely rejected in Islam. Even Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was given this status because Allah decided to give it to him. Allah favored prophets and favored Prophet Muhammad. Favoring does not mean he has a status of divinity. He is human being. The only worshipped being is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So let's make all of this inshallah clear in our minds. Jazakumullahu khairan. And the final, okay, I have a lot of other details and I prepared another ayah, but I think the time is about 1 hour we finish. Jazakumullahu khair. I will answer one or two questions if, yes.
Will be at 9 something.
السمر تايم.
I'm not sure if you'd like to.
طيب اوكي جزاك الله خير الله يكرمك شكرا خبرتني. Okay, now summer time will be next week, so Aisha will be at 9. We'll make quick voting for the majority. Now according to that, Maghrib will be 7:30. Around 7:30. So do you wish to make it between Maghrib and Isha?
Yes.
Okay? خلاص تمام شفتوا ديمقراطي. الحمد لله. After Maghrib, yes. From next time inshallah between Maghrib and Isha. After the Maghrib بإذن الله. طيب, if there are a question, if you have questions sisters or a comment.
I have a question.
Yes, brother.
So you said the values should not change.
Yeah.
The values that our deen gives us.
Yeah.
But in our deen, like Rahmat deen, should we impose those values to the Ahl Kitab, knowing that these are the values of Adam alayhi salam that everybody should have? You mean like when the Muslims are in power?
Yes.
Our job is to enforce these values, correct? But can we enforce those values to those who do not want these?
No, brother. Let's differentiate between values and ahkam shar'iyya teachings. Sometimes. When I say values, like for example, respecting parents is a value.
No, let's take a simple example. The zina is
No.
prohibited in Judaism,
Yeah.
Christianity, and Islam. So when you have a society, you will make sure that even Christians shouldn't be taking part in that action. Even the Jews should not be taking part in that action.
Now we will use the concept of a citizenship. The law of the country, this is not allowed. If someone did it in his own private, we will not interfere. It's very simple. I mean, the Prophet Muhammad lived in the Medina, and he was the governor. He was the ruler. He did not impose Islam on Jews, even though they were there, big percentage in their own circles. But definitely, he will not allow the Jews in the Medina to open a public prostitution house for everyone. This is against the law. Take it in a simple, now in our words now. We as Muslims, are we allowed by law to, even though it's a democratic society, it's based on the human rights, do they allow Muslims to marry from more than one wife? Why? Are they imposing their values upon us? What's the problem if an Islamic state imposed its value against others?
They don't like Sharia law.
I'm discussing logically now. What's the important? It is the law. Forget the word Sharia, forget the teaching. It is the law. Wherever you go on earth now, you have what? You have to respect the law of the land. True or false? Khalas. Muslims like others. Muslims like, now in China, they are communists. Okay? We have Buddhists, communists, atheists, believers, secular, whatever. Just name them. Christian, Vatican. Vatican is a small state, it's a state. It's a pure religious Catholic state. Do they have rules inside it? Are you allowed to break the rules inside the Vatican? By the way, are you allowed to build a mosque inside the Vatican? No. What's the problem? Do we accept this? Yes, we accept it. We respect it's their place, it's their religion. I'm not gonna fight to establish a masjid inside the Vatican. No, I have no problem with that. So, when in my territory, okay, I have a law, others should respect it. Where is the problem? Where's the problem?
Well, there is no problem.
No problem.
In logical terms. But the U.S. enforces its laws wherever it wants.
No, I'm talking from ethical point of view now as a Muslim. Now, the examples of some kind of forces now politically, they don't care. They are killing, Some U.S. forces in Afghanistan, suspicion of 2 or 3 persons, just they are wanted. They were ready with the drones. They killed 300, 400, and George Bush comes and says, oh, sorry, sorry.
No, but let's take riba, for example.
Yeah.
That's something that's happening around the world, and your economy cannot run without riba. So if you wish to go against riba, you're automatically going against the world, correct? So that is something you have to enforce. Because if you didn't enforce that, you're not.
This is a very, very, very theoretical, hypothetical things. Now, I don't blame you, طبعا, to ask this, because you are imagining we are in a big, big, big mistake. Okay? The majority of people on earth, they are far from the way of Allah. You are imagining a very idealistic thing that could happen maybe 100 years ago. My personal advice, don't busy your mind with this. Let's be, logical now. I'm asked to impose what I believe in on myself, my family, what I'm able. When I have whatever, let's discuss it later, because it's like like the people when discuss something. When you have the power, like anyone else, at that time decide what to do the best depending on your ethical values.
The reason it gives you purpose. Let's say your purpose is what is your purpose in life? Our purpose is ibadah, correct?
Yes.
The best form of ibadah, if man says, oh, my dream is one day, 50 years from now, that we're going to create a state that does not use interest rates banking. Then you say, okay, well, the Nasara, the Jews and the Christians who agree with us should help us build that state. Because they have to also go against their system. So it gives a purpose. That's all I'm saying. So you have to enforce that value system that you believe that zina and that interest is wrong. And you must.
When you have the power,
have
your parliament go and discuss and do what you think should be done if you have the power.
Might is right.
Might is right.
It's very simple. Very simple. When you have the power, who's able to stop Russians now?
Maybe the Taliban.
Who's able, okay, who's able to stop Americans now? We think that you are doing a lot of wrong things. Who cares? So, I'm sorry, I'm not saying, not to think about it, but,
They can literally kill themselves with nuclear weapons, kill themselves, and then we're remaining Muslims. So when we come, we enforce Allah.
No, if they use nuclear power, they will vanish all of us, not just all of us, we will die. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. طيب, جزاكم الله خيرا. Thank you very much for being with us. See you next time after Maghrib. And please, if you want to know any kind of updates, put your number with the WhatsApp group with brother Shihab. Where is Shihab? Shihab? Okay. وإياكم إن شاء الله.